In the mid-1960s, in the desolate towns of Belkis, peculiar afflictions emerged among newborns. Some were born without hands and feet, while others had snake-like skin and a single eye. Although the birth of disabled children is a natural occurrence, the situation in Belkis was much stranger and more horrifying. The terror of this event was not only felt by the townspeople, but resonated throughout Anatolia. Almost every newborn in the region exhibited these afflictions. The townspeople began to believe that a kind of curse or calamity had befallen them. In an attempt to solve this mystery, the local community decided to seek the help of a renowned woman in the field of witchcraft. This woman was known to the townspeople as Belkis from Belkis. The story of Belkis. Belkis is not only a terrifying tale from these lands, but it is filled with elements so dreadful that even recounting it creates an atmosphere that can send shivers down your spine. So, I advise those sensitive to fear to be warned. Upon reaching Belkis, the townspeople explained their problems, and she promised to uncover the source of this bizarre situation. Looking sternly at the townspeople, she declared that the afflictions on their newborns were a punishment for their sins. She instructed them to bring one child from each family so that she could understand the origin of the negative energy. A statement from one of the townspeople who witnessed these events is as follows. I had only seen Belkis once. People's respect for her baptism and knowledge had deeply impressed me. One night, they brought a newborn with strange ailments to her. Belkis gathered the mothers of the other children in her backyard. About 15 women stood in Belkis's backyard. At that moment, when Belkis placed a newborn with no eyes in a cradle, the townspeople were there. Unfortunately, the area where the baby's eyes should have been was covered with skin, integrated with the forehead. Belkis drew eye shapes on the baby's face and began scribbling strange writings. In a few minutes, she read words we had never heard before and shouted with a rising voice. At that moment, everyone there, including myself, witnessed a black shadow approaching the cradle. The black shadow took the baby and swiftly disappeared. At that moment, everyone screamed and rushed to their homes. None of us had witnessed such an event before. Later, I heard that despite this incident, there were others who took their children to Belkis. The same event repeated maybe 4 or 5 times. What was this black shadow taking these children? What kind of power could do such a thing? These questions were on everyone's mind at that time. However, the horrors did not end there. Let's hear the story of a father who took his children to Belkis. I had 2 children, both born unhealthy. My first child's arms and hands were not in the right places, deformed. The other child's skin resembled snake skin, and its tongue was forked like a snake's. When we heard about Belkis, known as a healer of diseased children, we went to the town and explained the situation. Belkis was known for healing children with ailments, and our hope was in her. We had explained everything openly and were waiting for Belkis's help with anxiety and hope. She did not ask for money or anything else from us. She asked us to bring our newborn child, who looked like snakeskin, to her. She said we had to do this to get rid of the curse and that our future children would be healthy. However, what she asked for was not limited to this. She asked us to kill a pig, skin it, bring the skin to her, and drink a spoonful of the pig's blood before going to bed. Although these requests initially surprised us, considering the health of our future children, we decided to fulfill her wishes. What she did was frightening, but we trusted Belkis. We followed Belkis's instructions to the letter. Every night we drank pig blood, and until morning, we heard frightening footsteps in our house. These sounds seemed as if someone was running frantically inside our house. My wife mumbled in her sleep, woke up covered in sweat, cursing. These events began to affect our health. Then the date we set to go to Belkis arrived, and we took the pigskin and our child to her. In Belkis's house, I encountered other families with sick children like ours. We were all waiting for Belkis's help with concern and hope. The sadness and anticipation on the faces of these families reflected the feelings I had inside. Belkis wrapped the pigskin we brought around our newborn. She wrote some strange letters on the skin. While performing this strange process, she turned to me and asked 3 times if I was sacrificing my son to lift this curse. I replied that I was. At that moment, the door of the room we gathered in opened by itself. A black shadow started to come towards the cradle with the pigskin-wrapped baby. We didn't understand what that black shadow was, but everyone in the room started screaming and ran away. Yes, the townspeople, whose children were taken from them, thought a few years later that their newborns would be healthy. Unfortunately, the newborns were born diseased, and their lives began to get even worse. Upon this, the townspeople gathered again and went to Belkis' house, asking authorities to accompany them when going to Belkis' house. The authorities went with the townspeople to Belkis' house, broke the door, and entered. There was a situation in the house as if no one had ever lived there. There was no sign or sound of anyone living there. The items were completely covered in dirt and dust, as if they had not been used for a long time. There was no trace of Belkis. She seemed to have never existed. The most interesting part of the incident is that the authorities found no document proving that such a woman had lived. Despite the fact that bitless Belkis caused trouble in everyone's life in that region, there was no evidence of her existence or her parents. Nothing was found about who she was. This led some people to think of her as a devil or a servant of the devil who came to these lands due to the spells she cast on families unable to have children. The objects used in bitless Belkis' spells and what happened to the children taken away by black shadows remained a secret. So what do you think? See you in the next video.